Hello again. Chris Lee and Chase Robinson with you, ready to preview Auburn's trip to Alabama for the Iron Bowl. You can catch that 2:30 Central on ABC. BetOnline favors Alabama by 12 with an over-under of 52. That makes for an implied final score of Alabama 32, Auburn 20. My model has Alabama by 16.5. Chase, weird weekends for both these teams coming in. Auburn survives blowing a huge lead to get a win over Texas A&M in 4 overtimes. Alabama, I don't know what in the world was going on with Alabama at Oklahoma. Alabama fans asking that question too. Anyway, we now set up the Iron Bowl, which is always interesting, with a really interesting plot twist just at the last minute.
Yeah, this is a game that I feel like you can just wipe the records away. I know that's a cliche when it comes to rivalry games, but really in this one you can. I've been to numerous Iron Bowls, and they're always entertaining. There's always different twists to these games, and so I'm looking forward to seeing this one on Saturday with Auburn coming off a win and Alabama coming off of a loss, which is it's been a lot of the opposite lately, and so it's an intriguing matchup. It's in Tuscaloosa. Alabama's played well in front of their home crowd for the most part, but Auburn can make things interesting. That's for sure. I'm really, really interested in this Iron Bowl Saturday.
Let's set up the matchup by talking about Auburn's offense versus Alabama's defense to start. Auburn scores 29 points a game, average of 64 snaps a game, a 2.8% turnover rate. That has come down recently as the interceptions have cut down on the Auburn end. 5.8 yards per rushing play. That takes sacks out and puts them on passing plays, where Auburn averages 7.6 per snap and is sacked 7.4% of the time. The numbers for Alabama's defense: 17.6 points a game on an average of 68 snaps, a 3.3% turnover rate. I think that is the best in the league. Second behind Texas. Teams run the ball 52% of the time against Alabama, 4.4 per rushing play, 5.1 per passing play, a sack rate of 6.1%. You got Jarquez Hunter, you got Peyton Thorne. You got guys who can make plays for Auburn. Coleman. It's just the consistency and the turnovers have been an issue. And just as we thought Alabama's defense was really rounding into championship form, now I think I put a lot of the blame on the offense, but the defense did give up 24 to Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold had one of the better games he's had. What do we make of this side of the matchup heading into this one? Because we have had mixed signals on both sides here.
Yeah, I think Auburn has the pieces here to make things interesting based off what we saw of Alabama's defense Saturday. They have Peyton Thorne, who can run. They have Jarquez Hunter, who's a great running back. I think Alabama has struggled with the run. We saw that. Oklahoma completely changed their offense where Jackson Arnold is running a lot to get the run game going, and they haven't been able to do that all season. But they exposed some things with Alabama there that you can run on the Crimson Tide. Now, I say that looking at this past Saturday, but weeks before, LSU, the defense looked great. It looked like a different group, but based off what I saw from Alabama Saturday, I feel like Auburn has the pieces to make it interesting in their run game, and especially because of the inconsistency of Peyton Thorne. I think he's cleaned a lot of that up. I think this is a much different Auburn team than what we saw at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year. But I think Jarquez Hunter carried the ball 28 times, I think, on Saturday against Texas A&M. Had a great day. I think you continue feeding him. Make Alabama stop this ground game for Auburn.
Yeah, I think so too. Before we flip sides of the matchup, reminder, BetOnline is your world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the biggest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today. Get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Let's talk about Alabama's offense versus Auburn's defense. Here are the numbers. 36.2 points per game for the Crimson Tide on an average of 64 snaps. I think that is the lowest mark in the league. Third lowest mark in the league in terms of average snaps. Turnover rate 2% flat. Alabama runs at 55% of the time. 5.5 yards per rushing play, 8 flat per passing play, gives up a sack rate of 5.7% and an average on the whole of 6.6 yards per play. Auburn, here are the numbers for the defense. 20.7 points a game on 67 snaps, a 1.2% turnover rate. So Auburn, I think, forcing turnovers at a rate worse than any other team in the league. Teams run at 3.7 yards per rushing play against Auburn, 6.0 per passing play, and the Tigers generate sacks at a 7.6% clip. I think, to me, this is just a Jalen Milroe game. He is probably the key player in the game. If you can stop him from running, your chances of stopping Alabama's offense go way up, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, this is they've relied a lot on the quarterback. Alabama has this season, and some would say maybe too much. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I feel like Jalen Milroe has had some really good moments at times. Like, he has shown. Think of the LSU game, for example. Like, he showed what kind of quarterback he is. Oklahoma, I thought, defensively had a great game plan of stopping him, and Alabama really kept doing the same thing and couldn't get any results from it. A lot depends on Jalen Milroe and what he's able to do, and what Auburn's defense can dial up, similar to what Oklahoma did to stop that run. If you could stop number 4, you have a good chance of stopping Alabama, like you said. And I think we'll see some of these receivers, get into it more, and Milroe find him. I thought he found Ryan Williams some, Jeremy Bernard, and getting those guys involved. Like, I think we'll see the pass game some. I think we'll see them continue to run the ball and get Justice Haynes and Jam Miller and those guys going. But yeah, a lot depends on if Jalen Milroe is the Jalen Milroe we saw against LSU or the one we saw against Oklahoma. Like, there's a big difference between those two Jalen Milroes. And great player, great quarterback. He's looked like one of the best players in the country at times, and in other times he hasn't. So, it's been up and down with his play. But when Alabama's offense is clicking, they're clicking, and they're going to score some points.
Let's start with picks and why, and you can go first.
I'm going to take Alabama. They're at home in this one. Again, it's a rivalry game. A lot of the craziness of this rivalry, though, has happened when it's been in Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. Alabama has played this game pretty well on their home field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And so I'm going to take Alabama. I think they get it done. I think they come out with an edge, knowing that they were really embarrassed Saturday at Oklahoma. So I think we see a much different performance from Alabama, and they come out and handle business against Auburn.
My concern for Alabama is just playing smart. Alabama's got the second worst penalty yardage in the league. You've seen Milroe make some head-scratching decisions at the wrong time. You've also seen Auburn, when Auburn is not turning the ball over, do some stuff like A&M found out. That said, and I know turnovers are more in the rearview mirror, but we ran through the numbers, and this feels like a game that could hinge on a play or two. I think that Alabama, with that turnover edge, with the guy like Ryan Williams, and look, Auburn's got plenty of good guys in its own right with Coleman, KeAndre Lambert-Smith. If it's going well for Peyton Thorne, they can challenge and even win. But between home field advantage and just that issue, I will take Alabama. We'll be here to talk about it later. Best way to get that, hit the subscribe button. That is free. Enable your notifications. We usually go live with our Saturday night wrap-up shows around 9:30 Central. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by BetOnline.